Welcome back to the Hooded Venom Garage. I appreciate all you watching. I know it's been a while since I posted a video, but there's been a lot of changes to the car since then. Who would have thought that making videos is more lengthy than actually building the car? But it takes a lot of work to do that. So sorry for the distance between videos, but hopefully there's enough content here to keep you interested and coming back for another watch. So this is what I've got going so far. I bought this stuff from Amazon. It's called, the brand name is Siles. It's an aluminum foil with a butyl back to it. Basically, you take one of these tools and you just roll it out until the texture's gone, and that's got enough pressure to make the adhesive stick permanently. And then, same brand of materials, they make a foam for the heat insulation, and that's adhesive backed as well. It sticks very well. You get one shot at it. Once it's stuck down, you're not getting it back off without tearing it apart. So that all went in on all the places that contact the engine compartment from the cockpit. I did it on the floors, I did it on the front walls, the roof of the foot box, all that stuff got heat insulation. Then on the front of the firewall here, that stuff got it as well. So hopefully that stuff works out good. And then next thing I did was a vinyl wrap. Vinyl wrap itself is professional grade stuff, not super cheap stuff. I didn't buy it on Amazon. Difference between the two is this stuff on Amazon doesn't have a grid pattern on the back that allows air bubbles to come out. This professional stuff really is a big game changer as far as applying that stuff. I bought a roll that's big enough to cover the dash width in one piece, so there's no seams in it. And then, like I said, with that grid pattern, you can squeegee it out without having any air bubbles in it. And the dash came out pretty good. I'm pretty satisfied with all of that. So that was another thing that I put together. Another one is, I don't know if you noticed, but there's no e-brake here. I was not able to reach the e-brake with the seat belts attached, and it didn't really allow much movement in the seat for the seat to go forward and backwards. So what I came up with was a push button one, because I just didn't like how they had the cables run underneath the car under this tube. I mean, it just seemed kind of hokey to me that that's the lowest part of the car, and yet you've got a safety thing going underneath of it. So had to go. This is what I came up with. This came from the American Shifter Company. Here's the part number if you want to see about getting one. It basically comes with the basic kit. You get the unit itself. It's got a cover that goes over the top of it. It has a linear actuator, and I think they give you a switch with it too, but the switch itself was a regular switch, not a momentary, and the unit needs a momentary, so I'm not sure whose decision that was, but this is the controller unit for it. It's programmable, so you can control the linear actuator up and down. I guess this is basically what the standard linear actuator controller looks like for any number of things you want. Like in the old days with Pimp My Ride or whatever, flipping up a TV screen or something to that effect, you can buy one of these things and basically work a linear actuator with it. But it runs off of a momentary switch that I did have to supply myself. I added this switch panel here, so let's turn this thing on here real quick. We'll get main power, and then accessory power, and then ignition power. I guess we'll turn all that stuff on. The lightest switch here is for the e-brake. So you press and hold that momentary switch. Linear actuator moves and tensions up the e-brake, and it's pretty tight. I'm happy with it. I was when I initially started to put it together, it wasn't tight enough, but with adjustments, I was able to get it tight enough, and hopefully it's going to hold the car. And then again, you just push that momentary switch. It also has a light on here to tell you that the linear actuator is on, so you don't try to drive off with the thing active. And just a little micro switch back here in the back. When that thing connects, it will turn off that light. That's the plan anyway. So let's turn that back off. And hopefully this thing, it needs to be adjusted, but that's the idea, is that'll all get all put together. Something I need to finish up. The next thing I added in this center console was, I'm a cell phone kind of guy, and I got to keep that thing with me. So having a way to charge that stuff while I'm on the road, basically you put your cell phone in there, and then this, I guess the cell phone's full, so it's not going to charge. But put it in here, and the phone basically will have an induction charger that will allow me to charge the phone while I'm on the road. I bought a cheap QI charger off of, I think it was wish.com, broke it apart, just took the internals out of it and then put it under the foam. There's two layers of foam on the bottom side of this box here. And the QI charger part of it is thin enough that it fits under one thickness of the foam, the circuit board and all that stuff, and then put a second layer over the top of it to basically protect it and cover it. And you can't even really tell that it's there, but it is. And then allow me to charge the phone without any cords. I did add USB chargers in the car, so this does have that. So if I do have a passenger who needs to charge a phone or something of that effect, that can be done. But that's all that part of it. I did not go with a radio in the car. This is more race car than it is regular street car. I plan to do a daily driver with it, but didn't feel the need to put a stereo in it. There's not really any place to put one, and speaker positions is not complicated. You know, it's super ultra complicated as well. Anyway, needless to say, I didn't put that in there, but I did do a rugged radio system. This has a 12 volt, and I added a 12 volt plug on the side of my center console here to allow me to plug that in, so that can get powered up. And then there's two headsets, driver and passenger, that you can communicate between them. You can plug in your cell phone to it, so you get audio from whatever the phone wants to play. So that was another option that I added onto the car. The car does drive pretty good at 70 miles an hour. I got a TKO 600 with the factory 5 IRS upgrade. Less than 2,000 RPM. I can be doing 70 miles an hour. So the sound is actually pretty reasonable, but I just wanted to have something. No top on there. I did add heat and defroster to it, but the headsets will keep your ears warm in the cold weather as well. I do plan on driving it up through the mountains and things to that effect, and I'm assuming that it will be cooler up there. I did add a functional oil cooler to the front of the car, something I felt it might need. It has a space for it in there. If you don't have it, it looks kind of empty. I like the look of how the oil lines come off the sides of it as well. All my AN fittings are color matched to the car. I was able to find those through Jegs. Kind of a cool option to get that kind of stuff included. Anyway, the oil cooler itself is susceptible to rocks and things to that effect, so I just want to make sure it was protected. I'm sure that they probably thought of that too, but I wanted to add some additional protection to it. So in the oil cooler hole here in the front of the car, I took a piece of cardboard or poster board from Dollar Tree. You can get these panels here like 50 cents a piece or something, 2 for $1 at Dollar Tree, and made a template. Transferred that over to a piece of wood like this, and then I bought some expanded aluminum rain gutter material from Home Depot. This is got a coating on it. It's black. Seems to work real well with the car. It is super flexible, so you can bend it. The finish does not come off when you do, and it is expanded aluminum. Basically, I cut out a small piece, and when I made the templates, transferred it over to this wood like this, and I have the inside piece that goes inside of there. You put that small piece that you cut out over the top of that, and then take this and you pound that together with a rubber mallet. Just hammer that down, and it'll actually form that aluminum into the shape of that, so you end up with something to this effect. I trimmed it all down so it all fit together without having, because there was a lot of extra material on there, and I just trimmed it down. It'll get attached to the front of the car with some sort of a panel adhesive. This will go on after paint, but there's one of them in there. It fits real well. It's exactly sized because the template was cut from the car. I think this material is only like $5 to get a panel of this. I did all 3 parts out of just the one piece, like 3 feet long or whatever, and it was enough to do the whole thing with just one. Yeah, seems to work good. I did install the carpet as well. I used 3M 90 high strength adhesive. I had done headliners before. You want to make sure that you get something that works well with heat and with just a high strength. So that was the one I used. I got 5 cans of it. I did the entire car with the 5 cans, except for the 2 pieces that go underneath the doors. Those I will most likely choose to do some form of a threshold, probably out of carbon fiber or something to that effect. This tool was purchased in a kit of tools that I got on Amazon. It was pretty cheap, only a couple of bucks. I mean, I haven't used any of the other ones yet. I'm sure they're going to probably break as soon as I use them. But basically, if you run this down in these grooves as you're putting it all together, it tucks very well. All the joints basically tuck in, and it pushes the pieces together to the point where, even probably without adhesive, they want to go together and stay together. It works out really good with the the carpet. I made this aluminum piece. This is just an aluminum L. I shaped it around the bottom of this round tube here. So it does have a curve here, but it's screwed in 3 times in the front of this. This piece of carpet, if you've not done yours yet, the carpet just ends at the front of this thing here, and I'm sure that people kicking their feet in and out of the foot box would probably keep that carpet peeling back time after time. So anyway, that's going to keep that carpet pressed down permanently on there. So that's what I did with that one. I've heard people complaining about finding solutions for the seats and seat tracks or what have you for these things. I know there's not a lot of options, and bolting the seat to the floor was never going to work for me. Whether I want to make an adjustment to my seat or something to that effect, I just wanted seat adjusters, and I wanted the seats a little bit higher. So this is kind of what I came up with. This was a kit I found on Amazon. I'm sure you can probably find them on some of the Cobra sites as well. Summit has them. But Amazon seems to be the cheapest place to get it. Provides a lever that basically is a locking mechanism on both sides of the seat track. Not sure exactly how many positions you get, but you get a few. And it seems to be pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with how it installed. And I can take this apart, show you how this all works. So, seat tracks are bolted to the bottoms of the seats, and then I got some C-channel. Some steel C-channel like this that I just cut to length to fit underneath of the seat. And then some of this 4-inch flat bar. This 4-inch flat bar, I welded to the C-channel and then bolted through. If you look under the seat here, the mounting spots weren't under where the seat tracks were, so it kind of pulls them into the center. These inside ones are mounted to the round tube. There's one that goes in the front to the, this one here in the front goes under the seat pan. And then the other 2 are in the square tube in the back of the floor. Wanted something that was going to basically provide some sturdiness to it. It does actually provide a little bit of bounce too. There's enough flex in that 4-inch channel off from where it's bolted to the C channel that it'll actually provide a little bit of flex. So it's not super rigid, but it seems to work. Another one of the things I've been working on is this stainless steel tubing that they give you, a Factory 5 kit. Finding a way to make this stuff so it doesn't blow off under pressure. I've had it come apart a couple of times on me. Just really not happy with it. I'm going to probably come up with a solution, which is going to most likely be a rigid aluminum tube. I did buy a TIG welder, so I'm going to know how to do that, and I'll TIG weld some aluminum tubing together to get a solid connection to this. And then, but if you take and you pinch one of those sections, you can pinch it together, and it actually squeezed out to about 1.5 millimeters thicker than the tubing itself. So I'm hoping it provides an edge enough to hang on to the tube so it doesn't slide off under pressure. I also used to be a pilot, and all of our aircraft use cross-check. This type of, it's just a way to visually see that something has been torqued. If you get a bolt, you just put that you torque it down, you put this cross-check on there, then you know that it's basically been torqued. And anything that needs adjustments, you'll know whether or not the bolt has moved, because it will break that free. So you can verify whether or not you've actually been there and checked it, and you can verify whether or not it's moved somewhere down the road. It's a nice light yellow color. It matches the theme of the car. You can buy it in any number of colors, but that's another thing that I've done. Another thing that I did do is the vinegaroon. I got that one from IE427 Garage. I want to thank you for that. Basically, you mix vinegar and steel wool together, and then you just dip the leather in, and any kind of natural color leather instantly turns black. It's amazing. Coolest thing I've seen in a long time. Gotta love science. This here is the headlight switch out of a Volkswagen Golf. I don't know what years, probably somewhere in the 2015s or something to that effect, but you got an auto mode, and then you've got parking lights or headlights. And then these 2 modes over here are 2 different. This is European, so it has front and rear fog lights. So you get 2 options for fog lights on there. And then it also offers a headlight, or the dash light dimmer. And then you can also plug in for the auto. There's a part that they make. This is just a light sensor that will automatically turn on your headlights for you. I like having a little bit of technology in the car, but this is something I found and put together. Planning on mounting it down here, but it's probably going to get away in the door straps, so it's going to have to move somewhere else, maybe a little further out and further up. I'm not sure exactly, but that's coming in next. One more thing that I added on here was under dash panels. It allowed me to mount my heater vent, a courtesy light, and then just a kind of an aesthetic light in there as well that's going to provide some dim light, but I wasn't happy with how the structure of the bottom half of the dash moved all around. Didn't like that I know that somebody's going to get in the car and push on it or lean on it and probably bend it. without knowing what the strength of it is. But it makes it very rigid. I know that the original ones they give you are probably supposed to work with some kind of like crumple zone or what have you to basically hold that in position. But I wasn't willing to do with that. And if you have your seatbelts on, you ain't hitting that thing anyway. As far as a crumple zone, I don't know if it's really necessary. But so anyway, that's another thing that I've added. Also, as part of the heat reflective nature of the car, I wanted to add some kind of foil. So this is one of those heat foils or whatever. Put it on the front side of the foot box on both sides of the car. Again, black and gold is the colors in the car, black and yellow, so it kind of works with that as well. But it should reflect some of the heat. So with the combination of the foil and the insulation on the inside, I'm hoping to mitigate some of that heat. I know these things get hot inside. So that's kind of where we're at for now. I appreciate you checking in and looking in on the car. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Thanks and have a good one. Thanks for watching the Hooded Venom Garage.